Hello and welcome to another Oblivion Plays video. We'll just wait for the OBS just to work out where X-Plane is. There we go. Right, so, bit of a failed attempt earlier at doing a stream. So I've figured out the error of my ways. I basically set it all up, had it in the kind of streaming manager, and then forgot to hit the button at the top right that said go live. Classic rookie error. Anyway, we'll try again. So that flight I've uploaded just as a kind of like a separate video because I recorded it anyway. Whereas what we'll do now is do a slightly different flight, just a short one from Manchester up to Inverness. It's a great approach up in Inverness. So I thought I'd show you guys that. Nice short runway, make it a little bit more challenging. Zibo Mod 737, excellent aircraft, as good as the PMDG for P3D, and it's completely free. Great sounds, great modelling, great flight model. I'll be more than happy to showcase that for you today. So what we'll do is we'll just jump into the cockpit initially. As before, oops, sorry, wrong button. What we'll do is we'll use SimBuddy. It's a kind of virtual VA kind of airline management program. It basically allows you to kind of simulate flying the aircraft as if you're flying for a real business with virtual flight attendants, virtual passengers. You've got to keep them happy, you've got to feed them, give them drink, make sure you don't fly too crazy. Yeah, it's quite fun. Just kind of makes it, adds another element to your flying. Right, so what we'll do is we will crack on, turn the batteries on, and then just kind of work through our flow. We'll go off ground power initially, actually. I really need to get like a camera program, you know, just controls where you're looking and stuff, because it just make life a lot easier. Anyway, just load up the fuel and wait first before we do put on the GPU. Actually, no, we won't. We'll put the GPU on first, because otherwise it'll start alarming at me. Ground power available. There we go. Right, let's do the weights now. So, looking again, PFPX is my flight planning software of choice. So today our payload is 18.0. Our fuel is 4.7. Zero fuel weight 59.4. Does that fit? Nope. So we've got to add a little bit more extra weight. So our zero fuel weight on the plan was 61. So add a 1.7. So let's try 19.7. Nope. 19.6. 61.0. Perfect. Zero fuel weight. Great, we'll just leave that page open, but in the meantime we'll just do our flows. So, your dump I don't think will turn on yet, but we'll align the IRSs. Yeah, no, it doesn't turn on until you put the APU on. On the fuel pumps, we don't have any fuel in the centre, so we won't be putting that on. Put the position light on. Working up, let's put the window heat on, get those windows nice and warm before we take off. Emergency lights on, or armed rather, seatbelts on. Can be a bit fiddly sometimes to explain. Right. It's fine, packs to auto. So our cruise altitude stays 360. If someone can enlighten me when this is switched to auto, whether you actually have to fill these in, I think you do, which is why I've always have done. But if I'm wasting my time, do let me know. Right. Elevation at Inverness is 31 feet. So we'll just leave that as 0. You basically want it below whatever you're, the closest level below what you're landing at. Okay, that's all that done. That's absolutely fine. Let's just reposition ourselves back here. HPA is fine. What we'll do is we'll get our QNH from Avitab. Airport, Echo Golf Charlie Charlie. Refresh that, so it's 1018. I've got it so it syncs with the first officer. That's something you can turn off or turn on. Oh, something's gone a bit crazy with my Chrome. Just see if I can get that back online. Ran out of memory apparently. Never seen that error before. Just one sec, let me just sort this out and then I'll be back with you. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Right, what we'll do next is we'll just put in, so nav database is fine, just align the IRS because that takes a little while. This never seems to work. I don't know if it's just not in the databases, but I'll just check what the gate is. 209 never seems to kind of figure out where I am. But you never know, might be surprised. Yeah, no, didn't work. Okay, so that's the IRS line. Echo Golf Charlie Charlie. And then we are heading today to Echo Golf Papa Echo. Flight number, I can't remember what the exact flight number is, I think it's something like 004. Runway 23 left, which, as with my previous video, I've got from Flight Radar 24, which obviously you can just see which runways the aircraft use, because PFBX isn't too clever when it works out kind of which are the active runways. It obviously knows roughly which one it is just from the wind direction. But it's not always the best, for the actual runway that the airport uses. Right, so we're using 23 left, and we're using the Pol 1Y. Route. So after that, UN 601 to TLA, Tango Lima Alpha. UL 613 to Findo, N610 to Lagav, N560. To Nesdi. After that, direct to Rimmel. And then there's no star at Inverness, it's just straight in. Arrival, provisional arrival, again I've double checked this. There's ILS-23. And we won't put a direct in, via in, sorry, excuse me. So go to the legs page, let's get rid of that discontinuity. Activate, execute. And then let's start filling in our perf. So 0 fuel weight, let's go back to that page we were on before. $61.0. Reserves today are 1.1. Always seems to be 1.1. Cost index 20. And cruise altitude today, like I said, is 360. I wonder if I just need to put the flight level 289 in first. I've had that problem before. Come back to that. I think there might be another way we can insert the cruise altitude. Let's have a look. First of all, let's just do the cruise winds, which are 318 at 046. M1 limit outside air temperature is 15. It's cold in Manchester. We'll derate to 2 and climb to 2 as well. Takeoff page, flaps 5. CG was 24.1. Sorry about that. And a trim of 4.82, which we can put in later. So we'll just fill in the V speeds. I have had this problem before and I can't remember. Let me just see if I can do it in here. Yeah, there we go. Right. And that's filled it in there. Good, excellent. I can't remember. There's a way of filling it in when there's a trip altitude. Right. Go back to the init page. So 147 into the IAS speed. And then 360. Takes a little while. As we're going up high. There we go. And then we'll just get the runway heading. Tab, airport. Switch over to the charts. Airport. Airport. Nice little indicator which shows you where you are on the map. 23 left, 232. Which is perfect, which is already in the heading. Let's just go onto the plan page, make sure everything looks like it makes sense. That's a bit funky. We might have to... I'll tell you what we could do is actually on the arrival we'll go via ADN, sorry. Which should mean we'll kind of do like a classic approach. Let's see if that's worked. No, like the kind of like lasso approach. Okay, no, we're doing that instead. Fine. Well, we'll go with that. So I think that's everything sorted from that point of view. Autopilot's all set up. Let's go through the checklists. Yep. Yep, all fine. Good, that's something I've just remembered. Just put the brake onto RTO. CDU, yep. Alright. Yep. Yep, good. And then first officer's checklist. what we'll do whilst we're doing this, I'll just get the passengers on board with SimBuddy, that just takes a little while. Yeah. Good. Yep, so we've covered everything on there. So once the passengers are on board, we'll do the before start checklist. And then we'll get pushed. In the meantime, let's get the APU on. I've lost the Chrome pages. Just close a couple of these tabs down to see if we can stop it from running out of memory. We won't have time to go to 360. Hello, Benjamin. I don't understand quite what you mean. Oh, it's in the flight, the altitude. For surprising enough, I've done this before, and you do actually get pretty damn high. It's just one of those, you know, classic British domestic flights where you basically just go straight up and then straight back down again. All to do with, you know, fuel and optimizing everything. Right, 70% loaded, almost there. Right, so APU's on now, so let's get them on, and then we can disconnect the ground power. And put on the packs, the APU. And then we get the yaw damper on. And don't think you can adjust trim just yet.
Captain,
oh, here we go.
All passengers are on board.
So passengers are on board. And then our trim was 4.82. So that'll do. Right, let's start the pushback. We'll just freeze for a second.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Get the beacon light on. Just make sure our doors should be closed. I'll just make sure. Yeah. Okay, let's play the welcome aboard. Passenger seatbelt sign on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. If you haven't already done so, please stow your carry-on luggage underneath the seat in front of you or in an overhead bin. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt. And also make sure your seat back and folding trays are in their full upright position. If you are seated next to an emergency exit, please read carefully the special instructions card located by your seat. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is prohibited on the entire aircraft, including the lavatories. Tampering with...
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
By law. If you have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight attendants. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Let's play some music whilst we're waiting. Actually, what I might not do is, because I don't know what the copyright is on, on the music in SimBuddy, so I won't play it just in case it's copyrighted. But you do get points for playing the music, so I'll just quickly do it. Let's go back to the engine panel, so we need that for the startup. And then we're just waiting for pushback to finish what he's doing, and then we'll be good to go. Just flight director, your throttle on.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
So, parking brake off.
starting pushback and you may start engines.
So packs off, and then we'll start engine number 2 first. So it's watching for that N2 up to about 20%. Good start. Start to cut out. Right, start engine number 1. Hello SimBoy, welcome to the stream. Like a good start. Get the flaps to 5 and get the hydraulic panel on, pitot on, switch the gens over, packs on, AP pack off, packs to auto, isolation to auto, and then AP off. And then we'll work through the checklist. So hydraulic pumps on, transponder not on yet. Engine start, we've done everything. And then before taxi. So gens 1 and 2 are on, probe heat's on, wing anti-ice is needed.
Operation complete.
Done.
Set parking brake.
Yeah. Engine switches to continuous. So flaps 5, set and indicating, parking brake on. I've switched it to the advanced mode so I need to actually put the brakes down. There we go.
Disconnecting tow, stand by.
So flight control check, switch over to system, full left, full right, full up, full down, full right on the rudder, full left on the rudder, and centre. Lovely. Turn the bottom screen off. And then disconnect and give them hand signals. What I'll just quickly do is just set the tow. I realise I think I've changed it. Just make sure that works. There we go. Sorry about that. So where's our guys? Not finished yet.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
So we'll just let him move out of the way. And in the meantime we can put the taxi light on. Off he goes. Flight attendants are just sorting out the doors.
Captain, doors are set to automatic and cross-checked.
Alright, he's given us a thumbs up. Let's get going. So, going to 2-3 left, so that's we've got to cross 2-3 right first, and then it's a little way off. Just get the charts up so you can see what I'm talking about. So we're up here. Got to taxi down and then go down this way, cross the runway, and then move all the way to the hold short for 2-3 left. Sounds incredible now. They used to be a bit dodge on the Zibo, but yeah, no, they're significantly better now. Added in a little bit with XP Realistic Pro. The weather's not quite this nice at Manchester. It's a little bit overcast. Looking out my window, I mean it's not far off actually. Sim looks sick. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is the new scenery from Aerosoft. I think they released it a little bit earlier this year, about March time. Really nice scenery. You know, utilising all of the stuff from X-Plane 11, and then I think what does add is the X-Enviro volumetric clouds. Although, as I mentioned in my previous video, it's a little bit has its negatives with the kind of noise haziness that you get around the clouds. I'm glad you found the 757 tutorial helpful. So it's good to hear. From Oxford. Excellent. I used to live fairly close to Oxford and Cheltenham. Now live up in Manchester. Nope, this is for X-Plane. This is all X-Plane. X-Plane 11. As I mentioned in my previous video, I've made the switch now. Pretty much actually shortly after I stopped streaming, about 3 years ago, I decided to make the switch to X-Plane. It just seemed to be going in the right direction. And I'm glad I did, because now it just looks amazing. So just taxi up here, take the second left, and then we'll cross the runway. In the meantime, let's get the flight attendants getting the cabin ready for takeoff.
Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for takeoff.
Do you only use P3D then, SimBoy? So straight ahead, across the runway. What we'll do is we'll get the transponder and strobe lights on before we cross the runway. PC specs are in the description. But essentially using an i7 4790K as my CPU,
Captain,
and a Titan X Pascal for the GPU. Got both. Well, that's the best of both worlds then, really, isn't it? I as much as I am happy with switching to X-Plane, there are certain things which I do miss about P3D, in particular like the PMDG aircraft, the FS to crew, and the GSX are things I really miss. Right, let's get the transponder on. Anti-collision lights. Sorry, the strobes. Just left is clear, right is clear. There was an EasyJet. He's just crossing down there. Let's see what. Let's get the flight attendants seated.
Flight attendants, seats for takeoff.
So there is something coming in. The TCAS. So just make sure, because we're not using ATC, just make sure that's not going to affect us. Right, let's go back to checklists. Takeoff. So departure runway is correct, we know that. Strobe lights are already on. Other lights will turn on as we get onto the runway. Transponder's TARA, and like I said, the rest we'll do when we're ready to go. Yeah, that's fair enough. Some people have their favourite sim. I personally prefer the flight model of X-Plane. It just feels a lot more realistic, and I think the graphics rendering is a lot better in X-Plane as well. But in terms of some of the realism, the systems realism, P3D does have its benefits. Let me just have a little quick look just to make sure that aircraft's not landing here. So it looks like we've got 2 coming in. 1 is going to 2-3 right. So what we'll do is we'll make an expedited takeoff. So runway lights on. Already done the transponder. So yeah, so we're good to go. So we'll just do, like I say, we'll do an expedited takeoff and get out of the way of this traffic. Set off the skid then. Right, let's just get lined up and then we'll be on our way. So flight attendants are seated and so are the passengers. Let's go. Stops are stable, engine's good. Toga didn't work anyway. Get back on the centre line.
knots. Positive rate.
You're up. So go for about 15 degrees. Why my toga button stopped working, so I had to do it manually then. Oh well. Let's climb. Just set VNav.
1,000.
Let me catch up. We'll do a bit of hand flying. Love flying this aircraft. Making the right turn soon. Toga. So start that right turn. Orbx True Earth does make England look amazing. It's just, it looks real. It does look nice indeed. So we go up to flaps 2. Flaps 1. And flaps 2. Gear off. Yeah, I've set it to be a large delay. It just means it should optimise the stream so you get a higher definition. There always is going to be some element of delay when you're doing streaming. Like I said, I've done the YouTube settings, so it basically means that you can optimise the resolution for you guys. I hope everything, all the other settings are fine. So what we'll do is we'll put the autopilot on now. Relax off the pedals and the joystick. So let's do the. Yeah. Done all that. Auto brake off. Landing gear is off. Climb checklist. So wait till we're 10,000. What I'll do is, have we got a? Yeah. What we'll do is we'll do a level change. It just because there's restrictions at Manchester. So we've crossed the transition altitude, so we'll switch to standard. So the restrictions up until Zoomat, and then after that we should be fine. Oh no, restriction carries on. It's up to pole probably. See on this page. Yeah, so it's up to pole. It's actually quite a long way. So I think in reality, in most situations, ATC would clear you up anyway. So yeah, we'll just take it up. Quite heavy today. That takeoff roll was quite long, quite fast, and I can feel it now with the climb. We're normally a little bit faster vertically than we are at the moment, 3,000. Normally about 3,500, but yeah, full aircraft. Although obviously it's only a short journey, so in terms of fuel weight, it shouldn't be too bad. And obviously we set that climb to profile, which is probably going to slow us down even more. The delay's about excuse me. The delay's about 1 minute, is it? Well, like I said, it is unfortunate, but it just means that you get a nicer quality stream at the end of the day. Play around with the settings next stream. We'll just see what we can do. There is a way to make it pretty much live. Like I said, I don't know how that's going to impact you guys. Excuse me. Bit bumpy. So approaching 10,000. So what we'll do is at 10,000, obviously we'll release the flight attendants because it's such a short flight. We need to get that their service done ASAP. Like I said, keep the passengers happy. Just put the range up on the map display. Crossing 10,000, so get the lights off. Get the engines back onto auto, should have done that before. And then
Flight attendants, you can resume your duties.
Captain, we have started the in-flight entertainment.
soft drinks as well.
Captain, we have started serving refreshments.
So for those who missed it, like I said, I'm using a tool called SimBuddy, which basically simulates running an airline, and when you're actually flying. Let's get this up to 280 now. Climbing something. Are we past pole yet? No, not quite. So you have to keep your passengers happy. You need to make sure the attendants are looking after them. You won't be able to see it, but on one of my screens I've set it up so you can see what you're doing, and they have like little bars where with happiness, thirst, hunger, boredom. If you do anything too scary, such as pitching up too fast, doing too high a bank, passengers get upset and the ratings go down. Although it's pretty easy, to be honest, to get your rating back up again. It's quite generous in that sense. When we hit about 15,000, I'll release the passengers. This is what I mean. So the clouds look amazing, but it's just this noise that you get with it, which if you watch other YouTubers, basically, and if you go on to Xenviro's page, basically they said that they acknowledge it's there. It's part of the consequence of using volumetric clouds. There's not much they can really do. I think they can try and optimise it so it's reduced as much as possible, but essentially it's there to stay. Almost there. I'm almost past pole, so I'll put the VNAV back on again once past pole. So 15,000, let's turn the passenger signs off. And on SimBuddy as well. Gives you little messages as well from the passengers, and it's like one's good. The one that just said there was good. The person next to me was annoying me. No, I don't have FS Labs. No. I think that was for P3D, wasn't it? I don't think that FS Lab makes anything for X-Plane. I never got anything from FS Labs, no. think they made that Concorde, didn't they? Which is supposed to be very good. I never got around to getting it because by the time that kind of released, I switched to X-Plane. Which fair, it did look pretty amazing. So, there we go, we've gone past pole, so we can put the VNAV on. That'll sort out the VNAV speeds, etc. So actually it's pretty long. I thought we wouldn't be cruising for all that long. It's fairly long. When you fly to Southampton from Manchester, you top a cruise and then you fly for about 2 minutes and then you're on top of descent. Right, so yeah, we've done them. So you can click through them if you want. Doesn't really do anything. So next checklist will be when we're descending. So we should be. Where are we over now? Kind of looks like Bolton, but I would have thought we'd gone way past that by now. Burnley, yeah, it's near enough. Gone surprisingly slow. Would have thought. I guess we're just climbing, aren't we? So we'll be hitting the lakes before we know it. Though I'm not sure if we'll actually go over them. We'll definitely go over the borders. So yeah, I love the Zibo mod. I mean, it was good. Oh, we left the door open. Classic. Very laissez-faire. I think it actually improves your performance a little bit as well when the door's closed. What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, it was very good. I think I tried it about a year ago and it was already excellent. I mean, most of the systems and how it looks was the same, but I think the one thing that they've really improved is the sounds. The sounds are unbelievable now. It just feels so realistic. I mean, like I said, it's got to be up there with the IXC G737 and PMD G737. Very impressed. Just watch your ears, we're going outside, it's going to be very loud. So we're using the TUI Fly livery, hence why we're getting German announcements as well. That's the other thing about the Zibo, which is quite cool, is basically they kind of tailor the aircraft according to the livery. So I won't do it now, but I think if you go back into the cabin, they have like the TUI symbols and things. It's all kind of laid out as if it's a TUI aircraft and vice versa, or not vice versa, but the same if it was like a Ryanair flight. And the Ryanair announcements are all in English, and then when you land, they have the classic, Ryanair announcements that they do when you're on time. I'm not too sure, to be honest, Lewis, because I never actually got the iFly 737. From what I saw, they were very similar. It's just the iFly didn't quite go into the same amount of depth in the systems. So I guess it depends what you want out of your sim. To be honest, I take my simming quite seriously, and I probably haven't even touched the surface. Or I probably didn't touch the surface of the PMDG 737 systems. So, to be honest, most people probably don't even need that level of fidelity in that the PMDG 737 offers, whereas the iFly one's probably going to be just as good. But don't take my word for that, 'cause like I said, I never actually used the iFly, so I'm not sure how study sim it was. But from what I gathered, from what people said, is it was actually pretty good, but it probably wasn't the same level as the PMDG. And I don't even know what their prices are, so I don't know whether there's a big difference in cost. But if you're using X-Plane and you have the Zibo, you're so lucky. This is so in depth for a freeware aircraft. Very impressive. Only downside of using, just kind of change the topic, but using X-Enviro is you can't use weather radar with certain aircraft. I'm not sure if the Zibo actually has weather radar, whether the weather radar works, but it definitely won't work with Xpire anyway, because the Flight Factor 767 that I used in my last video has a weather radar, but it doesn't work with Xpire. It's basically because Xpire works separate to
Captain, we have finished serving refreshments.
Separate to X-Plane's weather engine. The weather radars don't pick up the information, so basically the Flight Factor 767 just works as a terrain radar essentially. Alright, let's give the passengers their meal.
Captain, we have started serving food.
Long climb. Let's see where we are. That could be the lakes over there. Yeah, it is. Well, we're flying over them now, so it's a little bit hazy. You can see a lake down there. Let's have a little look at our progress. So, yeah, Shap is obviously just on the other side, well, from Manchester, so the other side of the lakes, the northern part of the lakes. I think it's the highest point on the M6, or one of the highest points on them, if not the highest point for a motorway in the UK. Highest motorway in the UK. So, estimated time of arrival is 16:58. So I think that will come down quite considerably when we hit the cruise. What's the clock? 16:06. Yeah. I mean the total flight was supposed to only be like 55 minutes, so I suspect that will come down. So we'll just bring the range down just a tad, just so we can get a bit more detail. So almost at top of cruise, 1,000 feet to go.
1,000 to go.
And like I said, hopefully that will just bring our estimated time of arrival down a little bit. Looking really nice out the window. Lake's hazy in the late afternoon mist. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but YouTube is consistently saying that the video output is quite low. So if you're not getting a great stream, I'm probably going to have to just decrease the bitrate a little bit. It's quite generous for a 1080p film, so I think I can probably sacrifice a little bit just to make the stream a little bit better. It's levelling off now, so our ground speed should pick up. We've got quite a hefty headwind, which is probably why we're going a bit behind schedule. I'll just see if the top of cruise has appeared now, because it's a bit strange. Unless it is the E/D. Just would have thought it'd be a bit before then. Just make sure the legs, there's no discontinuity. No.
Captain, the in-flight entertainment has ended.
Top of descent. Yeah, it has calculated it. Fair enough. Right, let's put a second film. So it's 17 minutes long. We've got. So the estimated time of arrival hasn't changed. So we'll probably put it on about 25 to, assuming things don't change. Because it's got 17 minutes to run. So basically, if you do it too early, they get bored. They get bored before you land, and then your flight rating goes down. It also simulates emergencies as well. So I've had a few in-flight emergencies. One was during a cruise, but actually because I was flying to Southampton, I didn't really need to divert because I was based in the nearest airport was Southampton anyway. It did make it quite a challenging landing. And then the other emergency was actually on final, and both of them were engine see if that ETA... No, it's got worse. It's up to 5 o'clock now. So yeah, clearly that wind's slowing us right down. Very late. Need to get into the habit of adding a bit of a buffer on SimBuddy, because basically what as part like most of the things on SimBuddy, your arrival time, if you're late or whatever, then that decreases your score. So far, passengers are pretty happy. Just need to, like I said, we just need to work out the best time to start the in-flight entertainment again. I've watched one film, but they've got another one to go. See where we're up to. So we're just starting to go over the borders now. Up towards Glasgow and Edinburgh. Yeah, Enviro looking very nice. So it's very variable whether it looks good or not. On the last stream it was doing a lot more, you see kind of like it's almost got streaks, and I think it's kind of like a grid pattern where it populates the weather. It was doing a lot more in the last flight. It wasn't looking particularly good, but this side of things is looking really good. Straight ahead. You got like the shimmer, like almost like the haze, and it's really nice. We just need to fix this. We've got some walking ants on our display. I don't know if it's just because I've toned down the anti-aliasing. Because I've got the actual game is in 4K, so I don't need that much anti-aliasing, because in 4K basically the resolution itself does that for you. Right turn, heading towards, I just realised that's a crazy diversion. We don't want to be going via Aberdeen. Should have thought about that before. -1. There we go, that's much more reasonable. Which means we're going to be approaching our top of December fairly soon. Let's just go onto the legs page and just have another look at that and just make sure that's okay. We'll just go to plan. Take that. Yeah, so this is what I was actually after. Just in my head I got muddled between Inverness and Aberdeen. So that's the approach I want, basically. It's like the teardrop approach. It's quite nice actually from the direction that we're coming. That actually works quite well. So yeah, so that's good. Go back to progress. Switch back to map and go up to, I think it's 160 we're on. Bring that distance, that range down a little bit when we get a little bit closer. Not so much traffic on the TCAS. So with, as I was saying in the last video, with World Traffic 3, you can actually kind of force it to populate X-plane AI aircraft kind of overlapping their aircraft. I think it basically puts like a little dot within their aircraft so that you can see it on TCAST. Otherwise, the ordinary aircraft that well, traffic users don't actually come up on third-party TCAS. Right, let's think about when. So 1649. It's 20. Let's start the entertainment.
Captain, we have started the in-flight entertainment.
So that's movie number 2. Very quick movies for such a short flight. Let's go with more it's likely to be like TV programs. So what's that? 40 nautical miles till top of descent. Yeah, 40. 16:26. So 6 minutes and we'll be starting our descent. Enviro's playing up a little bit ahead, unfortunately. So approaching Edinburgh on our starboard side, about 1 o'clock, see if we can see anything. We're probably a little bit far off. Oh no, there you go, yeah. So I think there's some kind of monastery or something on that island. Probably Berwick, probably out there a bit more, and then further forth into the clouds. So yeah, we're pretty much flying over now. So top of descent will probably be around about just beyond Dunfermline or close to Perth. And then it's the long descent down. Decels 10,000, and then, like I said, we just do that teardrop pattern down, and then really nice approach. Very short runway. But it's good fun. Really good scenery around there as well, with True Earth North, which covers Scotland. Could fly up to Sumber at one point, but I don't know whether the 737 will land at Sumber, but we can give it a go. It's a bit of a challenge. I'm sure the runway can't be that much shorter than Inverness. Definitely using water brake 2, I think, for this approach. And then full flat. I don't know if it recommends 40 actually. Oh yeah, no, you can use 40. We'll definitely be using 40 just to, give us the best chance of landing on that runway, because like I said, it is very short. Let's bring the range down a notch, so we're now at 80. Top of descent in 20 nautical miles. Let's get the altitudes and things set. So we'll go back. Airport. Close that down, and then it's Echo Golf Papa Echo. Inverness, correct airport, refresh, get the latest ATIS. So ATIS is actually standard. Get the QNH is standard. Approach, so we're ILS 23. Just a bit of the final approach chart. So we want to set the altitude to 2,000. Set. And decision height. 200 feet. So see the radio on the center on the flight display. So that's 200. So that'll give us a minimums call out at 200 feet. And we'll set, like I said, we'll set 40. The plane's starting to slow down in anticipation of that. So quite a fast VREF of 139. What we'll do is just set the ILS so 108.5. Horrible noise. 108.5, course is 232. So yeah, like I said, aircraft's just slowing down to anticipate that. Imminent top of descent. We're pretty much set up. So just go to the checklist page. Descent. Landing altitude. Yeah, we verified that already. System annunciator recall. We're fine. VRAF's entered. Radio minimums is set. Navigation radio is set. Auto brake we'll set to 2. So here's a short runway. And that's our descent checklist complete. So approach checklist will be next. We won't be doing a flaps 15 landing. There's nowhere near enough runway to be doing that. And then the rest of it, so we don't need to do the ground proximity flap. And then the rest of it we'll do when we are approaching 10,000 feet. So just approaching Perth now. We'll be flying over the Highlands, basically across the Highlands, and then we're heading down into Inverness. So what we'll probably need to do, which I'll do now, is just put the terrain radar on. Remember how you do it. Because there are some pretty high mountains around here. Excuse me. So, just approaching top of descent now. There's the vertical indicator for the VNAV coming down, and then we'll start descending to meet that. There we go. Just watch the speed. Might need to introduce a bit of speed brake. But the throttles are just lagging behind a little bit, so just see how we get on. I think we'll be okay. So that's pretty much idle now. No, it's not. Interesting. So yeah, so FMC is saying that we need a bit of drag, so we'll just bring that back to the flight detent. Slow us down a little bit, help us down. So I spoke too soon, now all the clouds rolled in. So definitely need the terrain radar just to keep us aware of what's around us, because don't want to be flying into any mountains. X-Enviro has this weird habit of just doing these flickery lights at the top of the clouds. I've noticed it's particularly when you're descending. Don't know what's causing that. Hopefully they're going to update it soon and just fix some of these issues that I've been picking up on. We'll just bring that speed brake back a bit because we're actually starting to accelerate now, which obviously we don't want to do. Don't want to be burning any unnecessary fuel. Bring it up a little bit again. Just hard to accelerate. I mean, obviously it was through the throttles, but it's always a bit of a balancing act between the auto throttle and using the speed brake. going down pretty fast, 3,000 feet per second. So let's clear the dragon wide. There he is, we're idling away now. So we'll just watch the speed. If it goes too slow, we'll just bring that speed brake down a little bit. So that approach pattern is just coming into view now. As I said, stay tuned because it is a really good approach. It's well worth the watch. It's good fun. It's no Innsbruck, but it's still good. Hello again, Lewis. Nice to have you back. Just in time for the approach. Just bring that speed brake up a little bit more because we're still accelerating. That's all that way. It's the cloud. We're just going through the kind of high altitude cloud layer, and that should clear up as we just go down a little bit further. And then you can just see the highlands rolling through the cloud at the lower end of things. There's a speed. So speed's stable. So I think we've balanced it perfectly so that we're not accelerating or decelerating or bringing in the throttle. So there we go. So we're below that cloud layer now, so we've got a little better view. Now it's doing that crazy jumpy thing again. So come 15,000 we'll start getting the cabin ready. Go now. Starting to decelerate just a tad, so we'll just bring that back a little bit again. Because those of you who missed it, I'm using SimBuddy, which is like a client which basically simulates you flying your own aircraft, your own virtual airline, and it it takes everything into account, including fuel consumption. So you just got to be really careful with fuel because it affects your kind of profit at the end of the day. And then it also includes things like keeping your passengers happy with your flight attendants. So we're just finishing up our food service and in-flight entertainment. I think we probably won't have enough time for another drinks round. Looking beautiful though. It's a lovely evening. Still stable. Just get the up-to-date ATIS. Make sure everything's still the same. Yeah, everything's the same. So the like I said, the QNH is actually standard, so not much to do there. Just set it in anticipation. Throttles weren't just contributing to our speed, but they're not, so we'll just keep that speed brake up next time. So just for the approach, just for those who missed it, so we're coming in from like a due south direction, we'll go over the Inverness VOR, do a teardrop pattern coming down to 2,000 feet, come right round, join the ILS, and then go, carry it on down. But it's quite a short runway, so we're using full flaps 40 and auto brake 2.
Captain, we have finished serving food.
That's the food finished. So we've got 8 minutes. Let me just see what our progress. 8 minutes to do a drinks round. See if we've got enough time. 53. Oh, we've got enough time. We'll just do a quick drinks round. Doesn't matter if they don't finish it.
Captain, we have started serving refreshments.
Got to keep those passengers happy. So we've just... Why did we go up so fast? Strange. Don't know if sometimes when Enviro just gets the latest weather data, it kind of just causes a bit of a jump, if the wind direction's changed. So we'll just bring the map range down a little bit, down to 40 nautical miles. So, estimated to be 10,000 at the decel point. And that's just before the end of kind of the highest of the mountains and the highlands. Obviously got quite a low cloud base and it's quite thick, so we won't be able to see the peaks, so hence why we've got the terrain radar up.
Captain, the in-flight entertainment has ended.
So a couple more 1,000 feet, then we'll start securing the cabin. Ready in anticipation. That's irrelevant, we're not doing flat 15. So we've got the seatbelt signs on. We'll do it again on SimBuddy. Speed brake down, so we're starting to decelerate. We'll get the landing lights on. On my turn-offs. That's your light on when we're on the ground. Transition level, I think it's about 5,000 for Inverness, but we'll do it, just before we get there. It's probably on like 7,000 or 8,000 feet. Not long to go now. 20 nautical miles till we hit Inverness VOR, and then let me just start the final approach. Just to do this teardrop pattern and then join the ILS. Starting to accelerate again, just bring that speed brake up a bit. I'm going to need it in a second anyway when we get to the decel point. serving the drinks, we'll get them secure in the cabin. So we've hit the decel point, so we're going down to 240, and so we don't breach the 250 speed limit for under 10,000 feet. Decelerating quite nicely. We're just crossing the last of the highlands with mountains, mostly behind us now. Inverness is kind of like in a little bay, which is just surrounded by mountains on all sides, but it's very flat, immediately around the airport. So down we go again, so as we approach 240. Once we hit this part of the approach, we'll go down to flaps 5, and then flaps 15 once we're established on, well, once the guide sector's live. Right, that's 240, let's just turn the speed brake down so we don't start using the engines. Might need to bring it back in again in a second. Right, bring it down to 20 nautical miles on the map. And we've just accelerated our descent as well, so again, we might just need to reintroduce the speed brake, keep a close eye on our speed. I'm starting to accelerate. Just cut that a little bit. Once we start introducing flap, that'll slow our maintain our speed a little better with that added drag. So just an area of high ground just over there, just to be aware of, but nothing that's particularly worrisome at the moment. Finished serving the drinks and they're clearing up, and then we can get the cabin secure. Did this flight before and stupidly didn't get the cabin secure, so I had to go around, because otherwise I'm pretty sure you get quite penalised on the SimBuddy client. Really low cloud base, probably about 5,000 feet. Let's switch over to our altimeter 1013, which is standard, so it doesn't want to make a huge amount of difference, just so we're ready to cross the...
Captain, we have finished serving refreshments.
Right, let's get the cabin secure.
Flight attendants, prepare the cabin for landing.
It's getting a bit bumpy as we get hitting these clouds. So altimeter set. So that's the approach checklist complete. So just want to quickly check something. 234. Okay, so that's the ILS set. I'm just going to keep an eye on that, 'cause it might change. I don't know if it's automatically changing. Just bring in the speed brake a bit more. Just keep an eye on the near the auto throttle indications. Make sure that it's not introducing thrust as we get lower down. Let's just get the landing checklist up then. So we'll arm the approach mode once we're just turning that corner. We'll just break through these clouds.
Captain, the cabin is secure.
We'll get the flight attendant seated then.
Flight attendants, seats for landing.
So ILS is active. Just saw the localizer just move across. Just accelerating again. It's just as we're going through these clouds, it's all a bit bumpy. Just beginning our teardrop approach. Volumetric clouds looking pretty cool. Not always the most realistic like that out there, but it's not bad. It's as good as we're going to get at the moment until Flight Sim 2020 comes out. Alright, so we've decelerated down to 210. And that's getting us ready for introducing flap. I might just do... No, we'll go to flaps 5 when we're turning that corner. Glide slope is just come on. So we're below the glide slope now. Above the glide slope. So it's going to be a bit unsettled until we're turning in. Right, speed brake down. Let's just arm it. Anticipation, and we've broken through. So, welcome to Inverness. Beautiful. Like I said, it's a really cool approach. We'll do, just because we've slowed down quite a bit, is just go down to flaps 2. Making that right turn very shortly, and that'll get us onto the last little bit of our flight. It's been very, very enjoyable. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. just let us go around a little bit further before I get flaps 5 in. And I'll just wait as well with the approach selection on the autopilot. Stunning.
1,000 to go.
Clouds are looking immense.
1,000 to go.
Right, we'll go flaps 5. And we'll activate the approach. And we'll do the checks. Right, so approach, roll modes, armed, localizer capture. It's there. But we haven't quite captured it just yet. Good evening, Mike. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. So, localizer is alive.
1,000 to go. $2,500.
So once the glide slope's alive, we'll go gear down and flaps 15. So you can just about see the pappies ahead, a little bit hazy. And we've got a bit of a right to left crosswind, 14 knots, so that's why we're crabbing a little bit. A little bit more challenging because it is already a challenging approach. So not long now, and then the glide slope will start to tick its way down. There we go. So just make sure it's moving. It is. Gear down. Flaps 15. Is looking very nice. The only thing about explaining it is the sea does disappoint me. I mean, I know I've turned the reflections down. That's the only thing I would complain about right now. Okay, so down 3 green, flat lead 15. Start engine selectors to continuous. Speed brakes armed and the and then we'll carry on with the flaps as we go down. So we'll go down to flaps 25. And flaps 30. Bring speed down to 144. And then flaps 40. Just let it settle and then we'll take control.
Thousand feet stabilized, Mr. Perch, altitude set.
Lovely. Right, horse throttle off. Let's take full manual. we go. Classic SimBuddy throwing a spanner in the works. So we'll just let it settle. I think we're good enough to carry on going. Just need to increase that speed.
500.
Just because we're only running off one engine now. Haven't got time to do a full engine failure checklist, but
400.
pretty much settled. A bit high.
300. Approaching minimums.
Head right a little bit more.
200. Minimums.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
So just gotta control that yaw because it's pretty mental when you.
80 knots.
So thrust idle. And reverse start. And then we'll just take manual. Yeah, so I swear the failures have increased in their rate with SimBuddy, but hey, makes it more entertaining. Right, let's get the APU on immediately because with only one engine down, we need to get the additional power and things. So cut off the fuel for engine 1. And with that right to left crosswind, that was making that engine failure extra tough. Let's turn off the terrain. Flaps up. Ooh, let's not go off the taxiway. Landing lights off. Thanks very much, Mike. Yeah, it was challenging. We'll definitely watch that on the replay. Taxi light off, runway turn off, lights off. Engine start levers to auto. Clearly the engine failure was complete because the engines didn't restart. Oops, wrong one. Strobe off, position light on. Disarm the auto brake. Turn off the pitos. And we'll turn off the window heat. Turn on the APU pack. The APU gen's on. We'll do when we're powered up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a bit of, like I said, a bit of extra excitement at the end. Completely unplanned. It's a random failure with SimBuddy, the client that I use for my virtual airline. So it does that. You know, it's always on final if you're gonna get an engine failure. Right, we'll take this parking space. I don't know whether Inverness has.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our destination.
Ground power, so we'll just stay on
For
the
your
APU.
safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. This will indicate that we have parked at the gate and that it is safe for you to move about.
Taxi light off, so we
Please
don't
check around
blind
your
the
seat for
ground
any
crew.
personal belongings you may have brought on board with you, and please use caution when opening the overhead bins, as heavy articles may have shifted around during the flight. On behalf of the entire
No
crew,
GSX,
I'd
so
like
no
to thank
ground
you for
marshaller.
joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future.
Engine off. Seatbelt signs off. Let's get the flight attendants on.
Flight attendants, you can resume your duties. Flight attendants, doors to manual.
Great. Last few bits. So like I said, we'll stay on the APU. Turn off the left and the right engine packs. Oops, wrong one. Isolator switch to on. Hydraulics off.
Captain,
Window heats off.
doors are set to manual.
Let's get the fuel pumps off. And then we'll just make sure we've not missed anything. Yep, good. Excellent. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a great approach, complicated by a bit of a challenge at the end. Let's get passengers off. We'll do a replay in a second once I've got the passengers off. I love this effect with the APU on an X-Plane level. I don't know if you can see it with the stream resolution, but there you go, with the engine blur coming out of the APU. So Inverness is very quiet. There's a general aviation aircraft there. There's usually a couple over there. There's usually some easy jets and flybees here, but not this evening. I'll let you know. So we're 80% with the passengers. I'll let you know as soon as we're off. All transponder will turn off. So just stand by. Good. And shut down. We're going to leave it. We're going to leave it as if we're doing a turnaround. So, like I said, APU is going to stay on for now. 50% with the passengers, not long, and then we'll do a replay. And then we'll call it a night. So tomorrow I'm going to try and do a stream. It'll probably start in the morning. I'm going to try and do the one that I mentioned earlier on. So we're going to fly from Dusseldorf in the 767 to Dubai. Got the just sim scenery for Dusseldorf, and then get some scenery for Dubai, which make the approach and takeoff nice and interesting. What I might do depends on how many people are going to be joining me on the stream. If we're getting good numbers and we're, the conversation's flowing, I'll keep streaming, and as long as I can. But if I'm by myself, what I'll do is I'll finish the first part of the stream after we're in the cruise, after takeoff from Dusseldorf, and then resume the stream as we're approaching the approach at Dubai. Okay, almost done with the passengers, just 30 left to go, and then we'll do a replay, and then I'll call it a night. Any questions, just fire away now whilst I'm still on, and then otherwise I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll try and anticipate a time, so I'll post the time on YouTube, so you can see when I'm streaming, but it'll probably be around about 11 AM. And then it's a 6-hour flight, so it'll pretty much take us all day to get down to Dubai. Alright, and that's passengers off. Let's close SimBuddy, and then we'll watch a replay. So, just get that ready. Okay. So I'm not going to talk from now on, just enjoy the replay, and then, like I said, I'll see you tomorrow.